University. It's the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships. Hi, everybody. I'm your host for our final college wrestling championships. It's Larry Nugent here. I'm sandwiched between two Big 12 Conference champions, Kendall Crump, so the head coach of Iowa State when they won their team title.
Well, I'm excited to be here, Larry. We're going to great round of championship Big 12 wrestling.
And Kendall, you won a little tournament down in Atlanta. I think it's called the Olympic Games.
Absolutely.
Your alma mater here is doing well as well.
They're doing great, Larry. Right now they're in first place, as expected. They have 7 out of 10 finalists tonight. One of those 7 athletes, Mark Munoz, is really looking good. He just defeated Zach Thompson of Iowa State, number 2 ranked wrestler in the country. He now is Brad Baring, the returning NCAA champion from Nebraska. If he beats him, he's looking at a number 1 seed at the NCAA tournament. I had a chance to talk to Coach Smith earlier today. John, assess your team's performance.
Well, where we're at right now, we got 7 in the finals, and the good thing about it is we came out and did that. We were predicted to put quite a few in the finals, and yesterday we executed and made that happen. And so I feel good about where we're at, and even the few guys we had down in the consolations coming through and having solid performance to be able to take all 10 to the national championships.
What can you say about John Smith? Year in, year out, puts the Oklahoma State team with a conference championship and a national championship. But there's also a guy out there who's been stealing the headlines all year. Cael Sanderson of Iowa State. Cael has a 113-match win streak. He's broke Dan Gable's consecutive match win streak.
Going for his 3rd conference championship and national championship his junior year.
Simply outstanding. Never been beaten. 32 of his matches this year. Major decision, technical fall. Simply outstanding. We haven't mentioned the Oklahoma program. The Oklahoma program, Oklahoma Sooners, are currently in 2nd place. And Jack Spates, we had a chance to talk to him. Jack, 5 finalists. Assess your team's Big 12 performance.
Well, Jim, we've had better days. We came here without the best team, but anticipating that we could win the tournament. To do that, we had to wrestle great. We wrestled good.
Not good enough to get the job done.
Well, Jack Spates has certainly done a great job at Oklahoma. He's really brought that program back. They're doing a great job. Although he's disappointed at this meet, they're going to be back around. They'll certainly be back next year.
Well, let's take a look at the team race. Oklahoma State is in first place with 71 points. Oklahoma in second with 62. Iowa State 61.5. Nebraska 44, and Missouri with 10.5. Well, it's the home team ahead here, so the 10,000 fans we anticipate are going to be loud. There could be controversy. Stay with us. We'll be back with 125 minutes right after this.
Announcing no comparison whatsoever. Here's their transport. This is ours. Their responsiveness? Ours. In the realm of e-business solutions, some have no serious experience, and some have serious competition. Announcing Sprint e-Solutions.
Are you deep in debt? If I could show you how to pay all your debts with little or no interest, would it help? Would one lower payment get out of debt? Then consolidate your bills with Chapter 13. I'm Peter Francis Geraci. Let me show you how to stop foreclosures, lawsuits, and phone calls and get court protection while you pay your debts. Put my 25 years of experience to work for you. Call now.
1-800-401-4010.
Welcome back to Gallagher-Iber Arena on the campus of Oklahoma State. We're here at our first match at 125 pounds. Matt Writings from Oklahoma. He's the wrestler that just made an attempt at the legs of Jason Powell. He's a freshman. It's a little bit hard to, differentiate.
The Crimson of Oklahoma State driving Powell out of bounds.
Both these wrestlers, Larry, are walk-ons when they first came to campus at their respective schools, and
Obviously did very well in the finals of the Big 12s.
Got a chance to win a championship for their schools. It's always pretty interesting to me, Kendall, is a lot of guys don't come in highly. There's a nice single-leg attempt. Powell trying to come out the back door.
It is Jason Powell with the elevation, and Matt Writings trying to hang.
Make things difficult. And he does funny holds out. And once again, Powell in there deep. Trying to step up and try through on the down. Do a nice job. One bit here is probably his 2 best shots, hasn't he, Kendall?
Yeah, those are both nice shots. I think Wright has to certainly be happy about coming out of there unscathed.
Yeah.
Did a great job of countering those techniques.
Well, as we pass the first minute at the 125-pound match, it's our first match of the Big 12 Conference. We have no score here. Matt Wright, Oklahoma in the crimson, going up against Jason Powell in the red of Nebraska.
You're mentioning to me in the open, Kendall, that Writings wasn't necessarily a starter at the beginning of the year.
Right. He was behind Bowmans, and Bowmans was doing a fabulous job for Oklahoma, and apparently was injured during the season. And now Wright steps in and is doing a great job. In fact, I believe he's on a big winning streak. Should be around
17, 18 match winning streak.
And there's Jack Spates, the head coach at Oklahoma. He's brought the program back into prominence.
Single leg attempt there by Powell.
Nice spin.
Snap down and spin front head hock position. Looks like Wright a bit of an advantage here. Not much space to work with.
As they near the edge of the mat, looking for position, Matt Writings and Jason Powell. They go to bounds. Donnie Owens brings back. I would think after 2 minutes here, this is the Big 12 Finals, guys. Is stalling going to be a factor pretty soon?
It could be. You know, it seems like at this, especially in the finals of Big 12 NCAA tournament, you have a lot of they're out there not wanting to make mistakes. It's more a modified chess match than anything.
Well, it's Writings now.
I'll hang over his back, looking for some way to tap his ankles to prevent the finish.
See where Powell's trying to tie up the ankles. He's done a good job. Writing's done a good job of creating some separation. His head's caught in the middle there. Now the ankle's hooked right there. But you can see the position here where Writings is rolling through. The guy who has his head up usually wins the scramble, though.
This is really a scramble, isn't it, guys? It started out with one wrestler with the advantage. Now it's switched.
Yeah, you kind of forget who took the shot here.
How about now, Powell? Oh, I thought he was going to be a warning roll, but it's still in doubt. You can see Don Owens is going to let this be played out. The time is almost out. And that's the end of the first period with no point scored. Some pretty good action here at 125 pounds. We're at Gallagher Arena. You're watching Matt Writings from Oklahoma going up against Jason Powell. No score. We're beginning the second period. There's been several attempts by both wrestlers and counters by both wrestlers. Really a kind of a filling out period.
Yeah, there has been a lot of action, although no scoring. That's one of the things about this high level of wrestling is there can be a lot of action with no scoring. That's exactly what happened in the first period.
Two good scramblers. You know, you're going to see probably the rest of the match. There are two guys that just never concede any point.
And it's Matt Writings getting the first point on the board with an escape.
You see Writings likes to work off the elbow tie, wrist tie.
He's forcing the action to the edge, and it's Powell with a shot on the edge, trying to keep the referees on his side there, trying to being aggressive. And Mark Manning in his first year at Nebraska, exhorting Powell on.
Powell's got to be happy with the training partners that he has over in his corner. He's got both Terry Brands and Eric Aiken able to work with him. Eric Aiken and Terry Brands are both world-class wrestlers on the freestyle circuit, so we'd be happy about those kind of partners.
Well, I had the opportunity to coach Eric Aiken at Iowa State when he's there and brought him to school there. A real intense young man. Mark Manning's done a good job of building a nice staff when he took over the program there at the University of Nebraska.
Still no real offensive points scored here. Both wrestlers trading shots and trading counters. There's been no warnings for stalling so far. We've got a minute left in the second period.
You can see Writings, he's trying to look for that high crotch. He's trying to attack Powell's right leg.
Oh, now we've got a spin move. It looks like Powell may have the advantage here, and he's got a big advantage. Johnny Owens calls the takedown, and there's near fall points being scored.
Well, that was awful quick, but I tell you what, he obviously did have control in that situation, and Writings happened to be on his back, so
he may get more here, guys. No, the leg slips out, and it's Powell going into a nice right here.
Yeah, that's a big 4-point move.
Actually, did they give the two? Yeah, yes, they did.
Yeah.
It's a big 4-point move.
And here's a big situation, too, with 10 seconds. 10 seconds left in the match. If he can ride out here, he's got a chance to going into the third period with a 4-1 lead. The high crotch attempt. And you can see how Powell gets over his leg to get locked right there. And then once that is locked, he kind of just rolls him back up into a cradle. All right, and you can see where he's lost control here and obviously gets 2 back points.
Very nice wrestling. Both kids have a great job of scrambling.
Well, it was a great shot by our camera crew as well. We captured the action there for you. Back to action in the center of the mat. Powell trying to maintain control. We've got warning, a little starting problem here.
Well, 4-1 lead with this kind of time left. It's a pretty big lead. You know, it'd be the equivalent in football of maybe 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. It's a big lead, especially going into a match like this where not many points are being scored.
Well, there's another look at Mark Manning, and next to him, Eric Aiken, and that reminds me, those of you that are, we've got action with a Granby on the side. Oh, and the time runs out without any points being scored. Powell really is putting a great match together here. The fresh Midwest City, Oklahoma.
Powell has here, that's like with other sports. With the opportunity to go down,
We're going to see probably Ridings go to the freestyle start. Gives the escape, so it's a 5-1 lead.
And that's exactly what we see. But before anything can happen, Powell's right back in. Fought off by Ridings.
You know, the psyche here can change too. You know, with Powell being in the lead like this, he can relax a little bit and be more comfortable in his shots. He can afford to actually give up a takedown and still be okay. So he may be able to just loosen up a bit and start shining. Ridings, on the other hand, has to really get busy here, has to make something happen.
Powell turning in the corner there with a little side single action, trying not to take too much risk because it's his match to lose now. He's really in the driver's seat. Ridings bumping him with his hips. 101 minutes and 20 seconds left. 5-1 in favor of Nebraska. And now it's Nebraska in better position. Oklahoma trying to hang on. Matt Ridings not in a position to help his team here in the Big 12 Conference. We're coming down to 1 minute left in third period. No points scored yet. Donnie Owens is wanting to make sure that complete control
He's still got a great lock on his head there. He's not giving it up, Ridings isn't.
Well, Powell's in a great position here. When you think about it, he's the one that was behind, or it was ahead, and he went after the shot. So he burned about.
All that work for a stalemate, guys. Mark Manning can't believe it. He thinks there was control.
Well, you mentioned controversy in the Open, and there has been a lot of controversy in the calls, protested matches in the semis, and these coaches are going for blue here.
They sure are. This is about seedings at the NCAA tournament. Everything counts here.
30 seconds left. And of course, if Nebraska wins, there'll be no team score change. Oklahoma won't move any closer to Oklahoma State. Jack Spades really needs to have Ridings pull something out big here. He really needs a 5-point move to get a takedown and put Powell on his back.
Big here for the team. It's
also big for the individuals. Wright is the number 4 man coming into the tournament here, and Powell's ranked number 6, and so that'll probably change in the national tournament in a couple of weeks.
Well, the score we mentioned is the score that will finish 5-1 in favor of Jason Powell. He broke the match open with a 4-point move about midway through this match, and then hung on. Didn't take too much risk. Really hustled with a lot of poise for redshirt freshman is Jason Powell for Nebraska, winning the first match here, 125 pounds, the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships. We'll be back. More action here at 132 pounds. Stay with us.
Why pay rent when you can own from just $6.99 a month? Ryland Homes presents townhomes designed for the way you live today in Carpentersville, South Elgin, or Aurora. Ryland features first-class carpentry, workmanship, and service from Denkenroche Builders. Home foundations carpeting with Anso brush resistor nylon from Shaw Industries, and a silent floor system by Truss Joist. Own a townhome throughout Chicagoland from $6.99 a month. For a free brochure, call Ryland Homes at 1-800-929-5062.
White Sox manager Jerry Manuel.
Our plan began with the kids.
Then we added some veterans.
We made the playoffs. Now we made ourselves stronger up the middle.
And added David Wells. Some people say that. But you don't stand pat when you're dealt an ace.
April 6th is opening day. The 20th Century Sox and take home a commemorative pin.
This is White Sox baseball.
This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming to track and field. The Big 12 Conference and Special Olympic have formed a winning partnership.
Some sports are meant for the heart.
Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life.
Welcome back to Gallagher Iba Arena on the campus of Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are playing 12 conference wrestling championships. We're in the second period at 133 pounds. Todd Beckerman from Nebraska. There he is taking the bottom position. Johnny Thompson, the number 2 ranked wrestler from Oklahoma State, on top. No score until the escape by Beckerman draws first blood.
Kendall, Beckerman seems to be in better condition this year.
You mentioned earlier about the workout partners with Eric Aiken and Terry Brands, but I think where I saw him wrestle last year, he was in those matches, but then the conditioning maybe was a little bit lapsed here last year. He's in these matches a little more
physically this year.
It's true. He has to be in better shape just by the sheer fact of working out with the Terry Brands and with an Eric Aiken, who brings that Iowa style, that Iowa mentality of wrestling to their room. So, you know, psychologically as well, he's probably feeling really good, knowing he can trust on his abilities and trust on his shape to carry him through a match.
And I think where you're going to see that is Beckerman in good low position throughout the course of the match.
Thompson has to play his double leg in the first round to no avail. Beckerman's coming
Really, with not much room for error, was able to counter it. Thompson now batted ahead of Beckerman with some real force. The crowd here at Oklahoma State now starting to clap in unison, trying to
put Thompson up into a scoring position here.
You see Thompson likes to work in space. He's kind of moving Beckerman away. Setting up that big double leg he has.
Yeah, from the outside, you can see him trying to set it up. Head tap, change his levels. Just needs to pull the trigger on the move.
And Dave Fresh makes a controversial double stalling call here. Now both wrestlers have been warned. If either is warned again, it will result in a point for their opponent.
You know, this is the first big match for Thompson. He's a freshman, redshirt freshman. He's seen big matches. He's been in state tournaments. But there's nothing like this level of wrestling
at college.
This is Big 12. So he's going to be facing these kind of matches here on out. But this is his first one. He could very well be a little tight.
Not much time here in the second period. Thompson trying to finish it with a takedown, but Beckerman with the possible counter. And no offensive points scored in the second period either. We have a 1-0 lead for Beckerman from Nebraska.
I felt Thompson did a good job of staying square after the kind of the half shot. It was really at Beckerman's advantage there. He couldn't really free his arm to be able to spin around Thompson.
You had a good look at Terry Brands and the rest of the Nebraska staff there. Reminds me of the great series you had with Terry in the Olympic trials in 1996, Kendall.
Yeah, it wasn't very enjoyable.
You provided enjoyment for us, and don't forget that the World Team Trials for Freeze Greco and women's wrestling will be at the Cintas Center, the campus of Xavier University, June 22nd through the 24th. And now the score has been tied up. Thompson with one, Beckerman with one. A minute and 30 seconds left in the third period. I'm looking forward to a great last minute and 20 seconds here, guys. They've got us now.
Well, Thompson seems to be wrestling a little bit high. You see he's about a head and a half higher. Beckerman's doing a good disciplined job of staying. And that's what you have to do when you have a guy who has a good space double like that.
That's true. He's got to make sure he
there it is.
This time Beckerman counters to the edge of the mat. Thompson again with the offensive moves in the match, but Beckerman able to use his wily experience to keep the score 1-1.
53 seconds left.
I'm here with Kendall Cross and Jim Gibbons providing the
Expert analysis here.
45 seconds now. We could go into overtime. Riding time is not a factor here. If the match were to end with the 1-1 score, we go, oh no, but it won't. It will not.
Thompson with the quick out scores the 2 points takedown.
You know, he waited the whole match for that. He was very poised and not taking it when it wasn't there. Waited the whole match, got it. He's going to win the match because of it.
And now the Oklahoma State crowd has something to cheer about. Smiles on the faces of the Cowboy fans as Thompson keeps Beckerman's hips flat on the mat, not allowing him any comeback.
5 seconds left.
Can Beckerman make something happen here? 1 point would be escape. 3 minutes left.
Well, we saw it. He was looking for that double leg throughout the match. He finally got Beckerman stepping into him, and he just put it, just like sat him down in a chair.
It was beautiful. Beautiful move.
Yeah, we were looking for action like that at the end of the match, and we found it. Johnny Thompson,
number 2,
the redshirt freshman, will be heading for the NCAA with a real momentum. Waited for the right moment to capitalize, and then he did. And there's a good look at the Cowboy crowd.
Very happy with the results at 133 pounds.
You look at the shot. This time he pulls his head towards him. That time he got Beckerman stepping into him, and there's the 2 points.
That was the first time, Kendall,
where he got Beckerman stepping into him, and he went for the head snap, moved him into him, and just sat him down, and looked like Beckerman was just going to sit down in a chair.
Yeah, it's a beautiful double. Actually, I'm very, very impressed with this pull. A little tight, but honestly, I think he's just
his way out of the arena.
There is for engineer smooth riding 5-link rear suspension. No instructions for designing a superior multi-alloy steel safety cage or the ideal 8-passenger interior. After all, you can't follow old directions when you're Ford new ones. Introducing the full-size Toyota Sequoia. It's unlike anything you've experienced.
Got the winter blues? Is your chance to get away to sunny Arizona for the Fox Sports Net Schlotzsky's Deli Spring Training Getaway. Visit your local Schlotzsky's Deli, enjoy a great meal, and enter your name in the drawing for a weekend getaway to spring training in Arizona. Look for the display, complete the entry form, select your favorite team, and you could be on your way out of the cold and your way to Arizona. Spring Training Getaway. Brought to you.
It's free!
It's free!
It's free!
It's free!
What part of free don't you understand?
Michael Lightner for the Oklahoma Sooners will take the bottom position to begin the second period. He won. From Gary, Oklahoma. Michael Lightner, originally from Marlow, Oklahoma. A big crowd here at Gallagher-Iba Arena, an estimated 10,000 folks here. And Lightner trying to gain some elevation and separate the hips. Not successful so far, and Walker brings him back down to the mat in control.
Well, this is the opportunity for Walker to get back into this match, perhaps take a little starch out of Lightner in the down position.
Walker can ride. Walker can ride.
An attempted Granby by Lightner, switches it into a leg attack, and he finishes. Oh, you can see why Michael Lightner is a 3-time All-American heading for the finals again.
What a beautiful move that was. Just a roll through, came back into a switch combination, and finished it just like he finished his first takedown.
Right, you know, he's just constantly moving. Even when he's not doing anything, he's moving. Very impressed with his abilities. And another thing that I see in him is that he's very poised. You can see it in his space that he's comfortable out there, and he knows what he's doing, he knows what's next, and just really impressive.
When he ties up against an opponent, he's always in motion. He keeps the weight on the balls of his feet. You see that dancing right there, almost Ali-like. Oh, man, nice little high crotch attempt there, caught Walker. And that's Walker's back leg he's shooting to, too, so that's more difficult to get to.
Lightner with the attempted finish. Really got great position on Charles Walker. And there is the takedown, his third takedown of the match. Michael Lightner displaying incredible talent at 141 pounds. Just another day in the office for Michael Lightner.
Here's the reversal, a Granby roll situation. He kicks through, and he steps up, and look at that right foot, right, that he had, and that was the power foot that allowed him to drive through and come across and get the double.
Yeah, he had his foot kind of caught in there a little bit and was able to come out nicely, get the reversal.
Well, Michael Lightner wants to establish some control here. He looks serious about riding Charles Walker here throughout the end of the second period.
And I think this is the area where Jack Spates has really done a great job with his Oklahoma wrestlers. He was always very tough on top, and I've seen gradual, steady improvement with all the Oklahoma wrestlers in the top position.
6-2 as we wind down the second period at 141 pounds. Michael Lightner with a commanding 4-point lead. Jack Spates happy with the way things are going.
You know, Jim, you talked about being able to ride on top, and I tell you what, that's in college wrestling. That's really, it's a big asset. If you can ride your opponent, wear him down. The guy on bottom is constantly trying to move and shake and come out of the bottom, and it wears him out. So a good rider, it really is an asset to your wrestling.
Well, you mentioned earlier the football analogy. Riding is like the running game in football. You wear out your opponent that way, and then sometimes you can break him and take scores that were 3-2 normally and go to, really blow it out if you broke your opponent mentally and physically by making him work so hard in the down position.
That's true. That's true.
And now Charles Walker with the escape allowed by Michael Lightner as he tried a bit on the whistle. If Walker could score a takedown here, we would have quite a match. I haven't seen Lightner look like he was weak enough to have that happen so far.
The interesting thing about takedowns and escapes is it put just, right now he's one takedown away from, being a point away. It doesn't look Lightner's completely in control of this match. 4 takedown, nothing. 8-3 score.
What I like about his strategy there is that you've got a situation where he was shooting to Walker's back leg, and then he shot to the other leg. He'd already shown 3 finishes, and the reversal was a reversal to Walker's left leg. Then he came back to the lead leg this time, and it was easy to finish.
Lightner again allows Walker away, holding the 8-4 lead. I'm here with Kendall Cross and Jim Gibbons. Oklahoma State currently has a 74-point total here. Oklahoma with 62. At the end of this match, though, I got a feeling that Oklahoma is going to move a little bit closer to Oklahoma State. Lightner's been completely dominant with 38 seconds left here in the third period. We're not going into overtime or anything else.
Lightner's just a moving target. He doesn't give you anything.
Good lateral motion, changes levels.
All right, he's 4 points ahead. He could very well just kind of set back a little bit, but he chooses not to. He just goes and goes and goes.
Charles Walker with a great idea, a foot sweep that nearly put Lightner.
That was only up with 10 seconds left.
Lightner avoids that.
But you saw the cat-like actions of Michael Lightner. He would have none of it. He broke free from the tie, got his hip squared. He's champion.
And the Sooner crowd happy with Michael Lightner's performance, a workman performance over Charles Walker. And there's a good look at Michael. 59 pounds and the #1 ranked wrestler in the country. Right after this, stay with us.
Our truck's appearance says a lot about you. Say it with style in custom wheels and accessories from Truckin' Specialties in Springfield. You'll find a huge selection of Lear toppers with a full range of optional features made just for your truck, whether it's a GM, Ford, Dodge, or import. And you can keep your truck looking great with a Permatex spray-in bed liner and the best cleaners and polishers available.
Accidents are a fact. They can happen at any time.
If you have been hurt in
an accident, you may have the right to collect money.
Call the law offices Warren Dance at 1-800-679-6868. Call them. They will act now. They don't get paid until they collect money for you. Call 1-800-679-6868 for a free visit. Call the law offices of Warren Dance, known to help good people.
News, rankings.
Turn on and log on to themat.com.
Re-engineered and reformatted, including real-time activities and entertainment. A new approach launching in late June. themat.com.
It's my ultimate source of real wrestling.
Hey, listen up. I'm the Bounded Patriot. I want you to come out and watch the biggest, baddest, toughest wrestler in town.
Gail, I'm Jim Shear, Executive Director of U.S. Wrestling, the national governing body for amateur wrestling in the United States. 30 years
of national leadership and pride.
USA Wrestling offers the best programs and services available, including a wide variety of merchandise and apparel. So let's get real and support amateur wrestling. Call us at 1-800-727-USA1.
Welcome back to Gallagher Arena on the campus of Oklahoma State. We're at 149 pounds. Reggie Wright for Oklahoma State. You're looking at him, the number one ranked wrestler in the country. Going up against Jared Frayer, beginning of the second period. Reggie Wright on top, flattening Jared Frayer down on the mat.
Stick him, Reggie! In the first period, it seemed like there was a lot of probing going on, not a lot of
committed shots. They both took several shots, but shots that weren't wholehearted.
So I could see that, maybe they're just still getting acquainted. See what happens in the second and third period.
Oh, we meant that these two wrestlers have wrestled 9 times before with Wright winning all 9 of them.
So in order to make this thing
Frayer's at least got to try to win one of these matches. But if you're going to do it,
keeping the match close is probably part of that wrestling.
That's a good point.
For the fans at home, the thing to remember, Frayer has a history of being explosive. He's got a bag of tricks that cause his opponent big trouble. Reggie Wright, of course, the number 1 country with the knowledge of that. So as we go through the match, we can look forward for those two dynamics to unfold. Reggie Wright making a great attempt here at getting riding time.
He did. He's doing a great job of controlling the wrist. That whole sequence there was set up by Reggie Wright using his right arm and getting Frayer's left wrist.
Now he's working on it pretty hard.
He's got a good situation here to milk the clock. We're already down to about...
He's already got 1:15, 1:16 of riding time here. So this is going definitely to right advantage here, riding Frayer.
And when we mention riding time, for those of you out there that want an explanation, the position that Reggie Wright is in
now, called position of control. If you can maintain that a minute
longer than opponent maintains it over you, at the end of the match, you'll be awarded 1 point. So Reggie Wright now has been on top for 1 minute and 40 seconds. He does have that required 1 minute time. So essentially the score is 1-0 in favor of Reggie Wright.
And this is important for strategy here for Wright to ride him out. You think if he doesn't get the escape here, Frayer doesn't get an escape, you'll probably see Wright go on the equivalent of a 2-0 lead, or 1-0 lead, excuse me.
Frayer with a whizzer and a leg inside there, trying to get the position he needs to get the escape. I'm surprised that Wright allowed that to happen.
No point yet, though. You can see the left arm.
And with time running out, will Donnie Owen give the point?
That was a good call.
No point for Jared Frayer, so he has ridden the entire second period.
If you look at the left arm, all right, it's around the way. The difference is here. Frayer's going to
get his hips out. He has not cleared that hand.
All right, and that's the key. Clears that hand, and Wright does a good
job of following through.
No points.
Wright takes down. Kind of interesting here.
Oh, as quick as they start, Reggie Wright turns around and reverses Frayer. Now in dominant control, Jared Frayer has a deficit that he's looking at. Excuse me.
A 2-point deficit.
3 points with riding time.
Correct.
He's just about built enough riding time up to where it can't out if Frayer were to
reverse it.
I haven't seen Reggie Wright so determined up in all the years I've seen him wrestle. He is really looking for that.
Look at the replay here. Look at Frayer's putting the leg in, but now look at this explosive switch attempt. He keeps his head up by that hand, staying on the mat, keeps elevation there.
He caught Frayer kind of snoozing a little bit on that one and gets the easy tip.
We still have a tight match here. 2-0 in favor of Reggie Wright. He's the wrestler on top there in the Oklahoma State orange. He also holds a 2-minute and 30-second riding time total, so he will have a point at the end of this match. It's really 3-0, folks. Wright trying to get a reversal here.
It's actually a good strategy by Wright, dropping down.
Right back into that wrist ride. We'll see that 2-on-1 wrist ride.
He's really tough in that position, and Frayer's a hard time with that through the course of the whole match.
And a stalling on Reggie Wright on top. They, I think Donnie Owens sensed that Reggie Wright had a good thing going, and he would keep it going.
Right. He's got a nice spiral ride attempt, but he really isn't doing anything to pin the man. And I don't mind that warning right there. I don't think you change your strategy, Reggie Wright.
No, you don't. Even if you do give up a point, just say for a chance he does end up with it. He's still going to win the match.
And we're ending this match at 149. Wright, one of the great athletes in the NCAA this year, ranked #1. He's done nothing that will hurt that ranking. He wins 3-0 by 1 point riding time and a reversal. Stay with us. We'll be back at for 157 pounds here from Cael Arena on campus of Oklahoma State right after these messages.
I'm no quitter. I didn't get here by giving up when things got a little tough. Gotta do work harder. I've been a winner my entire life. I don't plan on stopping now.
Taco Balls. Inside beats the heart of a champion.
Are you overwhelmed with bills, afraid to answer your phone, credit cards maxed out? Then stop high interest.
I'm attorney Peter Francis here. Let me show you how to pay bills with no interest
In one payment you can afford. Listen to my debt relief info tapes.
1-800-401-4010. This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming to track and field. The Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics have formed a winning partnership.
Sports are better for the heart.
Special Olympics and the Big 12
Conference. Partnership for life.
Like Snyder here, he's kind of taking Sanderson, giving him tech the lead leg. Didn't get the first time.
His strong out is usually attacking Sanderson's right leg on a single leg, but Sanderson did not.
Look at both coaching staffs. Mark Manning, the head coach, his first year at Nebraska, and Bias, who's one of the deans of the NCAA coaches, looking on. Cole Sanderson pushing Snyder to the edge of the mat, and Snyder coming right back with an attempted leg attack. Sanderson avoids the points by going out of bounds.
That was a very nice shot.
Snyder just does a great job of lowering his level when he wants to attack.
Yeah,
and, that's
very
what, and last year I thought you saw maybe 2 very good attempts out of him during the course of a match. Now you're starting to see about 10.
Snyder with a great leg attack on the edge of the mat. Stops short just in time to give him an opportunity to score. Actually to no avail though, because Sanderson does get out of bounds. The score is still 4-2 in favor of Bryan Snyder, the number-checked wrestler in the country in the Nebraska Red.
That's a good point, Jim. He is taking a lot of chances. He's shooting in there, putting himself in a position to score. That's what it's about. going in there and getting some.
Well, he's pretty fearless. Nice shot there. Just has Sanderson
moving into him at the edge of the net, tries to do a duck there, but I
Cole Sanderson with an attempted leg attack, easily countered by Bryan Snyder. Looks like he's just waiting for the referee to bring them back up, and Dave Frisch does. I'm Larry Nugent here with Kendall Cross.
Coming to you, Olympic NCAA champion and NCAA coach. The match is like 10 seconds left. You see how Snyder is
keeping that left elbow block.
You see that we're Sanderson is trying to work around to get legs.
But this is, I think, the closest so far of all our matches
in strategy and where we're at with a to go.
Well, it was Sanderson's turn to answer in the match. He came and hit a good high crotch, and that little bit of action that we didn't score maybe give him some confidence here in the third period.
That's right. An escape will put him a point, so he's in good position.
Snyder tries to pull Sanderson to his back off the whistle, and it doesn't work. The experience of Cole Sanderson works to his favor, and we have a real tight match, guys. 4-3 in favor of Snyder.
Riding time not a factor.
And they're both showing best stuff.
Look at this, Snyder wrestling on one knee there for a moment. I haven't seen that since the 60s.
Rick Sanderson.
State University way back then, wrestling on his knees.
One of the best wrestlers ever.
Bryan Snyder and Cole Sanderson going at it here with 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the third period. We're at 157 pounds. And there's Snyder with a clean double leg.
Oh, man, that was sweet, Larry. He ended up just going from a low level. They caught Sanderson moving from.
There's a Granby attempt. Sanderson, what's he going to come up with here at the end? Will it be an escape? Will it be a reversal? If the reversal is what happens, he will be still in this match, but that's not what happens. It's an escape. Only 1 point for an escape, so 6-4. This match is still within reach of Cole Sanderson.
Really, the onus is on Snyder here. And you see Snyder backing up a little bit. That's not too well advised. And you look at the replay here. Look at the low shot. Steps up, pops his hips in.
Bryan Snyder set that up from one knee. He's wrestling in that one knee position. You don't see that too often.
Award ceremony wrestlers.
With 30 seconds left, Dave Frisch calls us mate. He wants more action. Cole Sanderson does have an opportunity here.
Snyder's out of the woods here.
Scores the 2-point
lead, no riding time. Notice how he changed his tactics, got a little bit lower, going down to the knee.
Now down to 15 seconds. Snyder
Nice
looking for
shot
that double
again.
leg again. That puts the icing on the cake for the Cornhusker.
Well, what a strategy that he sees the opponent's going to, he knows he's going to come at him. He knows he's going to try that space. He drops down to one knee, and when the opponent walks in, he just blows right through him.
Yeah, it's very nice. You're right. He just kind of waited him out. Knew he had to come. Dropped his levels. Boom, takedown.
Little false right there. Oh, and that was the caution, guys. So a point awarded to Sanderson. Now 8-5. Actually, that's just going to add to the frustration that Sanderson feels here because it's not going to make it. Bryan Snyder closing up this match. He will get riding time. 9-5, the final. There's the arm raise. Bryan Snyder, another conference, his third.
Steps up, hips in, and pants in. Sure is, Jim. You saw him, like you were saying, he's rosin man. He knows he has to come because he's behind.
Bryan Snyder wins it, 157 pounds. We'll be back with 165 pounds right after this. So this.
Hi, I'm Mike Wellner from Insight Communications, your new cable company.
You have a variety of new services, delivering more entertainment, new ways for you to access information,
and a choice in telephone service. In Rockford, we promised to provide the very best in technology and services, and we did it. Promises made, promises kept.
Shine bright, honey. Bob Brady all here. We want a record year, but we need to beat it this year, and here's how we're going to do it.
Buy or lease any new Honda from us with Accords for $279, Civics $49, or Accord BX for $14.9. But don't bring your check. You won't need it. Nothing down, not even tax and license. It's a great time to buy or lease a new Honda from Bob Brady Honda in Decatur. We will save you money.
It's free!
It's free! It's free!
The free, don't you understand?
Welcome back to Gallagher Iba Arena. It's the Big 12 Conference League Championships at 165 pounds. Joe Heskett. He's taking the position on the bottom. Robbie Waller from Oklahoma going period.
These two wrestlers have met. Waller won the last match. Heskett's won the previous two.
Beautiful act.
He just ended up this guy throughout his whole career. He's won 99 matches at Iowa State. If he wins this one, he'll be the 100 matches.
Well, Robbie Waller was bringing Heskett down to the mat with authority, but it was Heskett changing it into his. Opening this match up a little bit. He's got the 2-0 lead.
See here you see the roll through attempt, the shoulder.
Roll, he comes down to the mat. Beautiful shoulder roll. Collect the bottom leg. See that ankle? Collects the bottom leg.
Looks it up, and he gets the back points.
He's excited about it.
Maybe thought he maybe should have back points there.
And the back points were not awarded. So
I thought I saw them, but I guess they weren't.
Well, I think we all thought we saw them. They were apparent on replay, but not enough control as determined by Kenny Ritchie.
That was really nice in Heskett's part to have the sense to be able to roll through as coming back down to the mat. Really
what
nice
a scramble here. Robbie Waller trying to get some control over Joe Heskett, and Heskett trying to turn it into a cradle. Him, they go out of bounds, no change.
Here's the potential backs here. Notice how Heskett right here, he locks it up, and there's a potential back point situation. One. I guess not. He called it. The referee was right there to make the call, so we'll have to agree with him.
Back to action, 2-1 now. This is a rivalry. Jimmy mentioned you got to have, at least one victory over your opponent to define it as such. These wrestlers 2-1.
Yeah, there's a difference between a rivalry and a tune-up.
Yeah.
and this match has been this rivalry.
There's the Oklahoma Brain Trust. In the middle, Jack Spates. Dynamic personality.
Certainly done a great job at Oklahoma.
Multi-talented, coach, author.
That's right, he's got the mat snacks.
Yeah, that's right. Work that in there.
Next to him, Barry Weldon from Iowa State, originally, now winning a title there for the Cyclones, now helping out Jack Spates. And that's the end of the first period, 2-1. You've seen the action. Joe Heskett turning that movement into his own, reversing for the 2-point. There's Barry Weldon barking out instructions to Robbie Waller, who's really in this match. 2-1 is nothing with 2 minutes left. He's taking the upper body situation, 2 underhooks. Heskett dropping his weight down there, doesn't want to get a situation.
Well, you can see that it was Waller's choice, and he chose the neutral position. He has a lot of respect for Heskett's
prowess in the top position.
Heskett's known as a great scrambler, pinner, good crate. Trying to take that away from him, and he's down 2-1 now, wants to try to finish this match off on his feet.
agree. That's a great call.
Well, that breaks it open for Heskett.
Used almost the same technique earlier with Snyder. Got to the edge of the mat, lowered his level, and attacked the legs when Waller was pushing in.
Well, in the team race, Oklahoma State now holds
77 points in their favor, Oklahoma 65.
Iowa State 61.5. So with Heskett, if he does hold on to win this match, and there's a minute and 8 seconds left, he holds a 4-1 lead. ISU will move a little bit closer to second place here in the Big 12 Conference.
Waller's got to be careful to relax down here because Heskett's capable of putting anybody on the back from any position with that cradle. Referee's going to call a stalemate.
And he could have...
Unless Waller can do something here, get on top of Heskett away.
Doesn't look like that's going to happen. You commented earlier, Jim, about the fact that Waller took the neutral position beginning of the third period. Now we're seeing why.
Yeah, Heskett just draping over here. Now he's working at the he'll probably try to come in, try to lock the wrist move. We call it ball and chain.
Looks like what he has.
He can go either way with it, backwards or forward.
Yep. He'll probably try to slip his elbow out into the middle part of Waller's back. Try to get a little bit more leverage.
I'm Larry. Next to me is Kendall Cross, who's put a lot of wrestlers in the same position that we're looking at here right now. And Jim Gibbons. And about him, the NCAA champion.
Not as many as Kendall did, though. Kendall got in some weird positions. Tough to coach against.
And that's the end of the match.
Heskett in full control. Looks great.
Yeah, and this is something that hasn't had is a good performance going into the Nationals here, so maybe that'll bode well for him in the NCAA.
He hasn't hurt his number 2 ranking. It's Joe Heskett winning it for ISU at 165 pounds. We'll be back with 174 pounds right after. Not go away.
Hold on. We've got more prizes. For the who sells the most candy. That's the Cola Kingdom. To get out there and sell that candy.
Passat. It only looks $1 million.
He's simply known as the Coach, and is one of Chicago's most beloved champions. Now, Mike Ditka's restaurant is one of the new champions in town. Just a first down from Michigan Avenue, Mike Ditka's offers dining in an elegant yet comfortable atmosphere. The menu is all American.
Coach's Lopez shops at Paros. If a cigar and cognac is more of what you desire, step up to Mike's Cigar Bar and make a selection of dozens of premium cigars in Mike's Humidor.
Mike Ditka's, 100 East Chestnut Street in beautiful downtown Chicago.
Wrestling, America's most action-packed sporting event. And now you can get inside the action with Amateur Wrestling News, the only publication devoted to all phases of amateur wrestling. Each issue, AWN brings you the inside news on high school and college action, ranking, tournament results, scouting and recruiting reports, camp and equipment information, much more.
Each issue is packed with the in-depth articles, no-hold-barred editorials, and cutting-edge photography
that have made this the oldest and most respected wrestling publication. And now you can have Amateur Wrestling News delivered to your home for an entire year for just $28. Get all the action, all the excitement, and all the inside news 12 times.
Come on, get free wrestling video with your paid subscription. 800-279-8551.
Conference Wrestling Championships. We're at Gallagher Arena at 170 pounds.
March is a senior originally from First Florida. Tyrone Lewis up from too far away.
El Reno, Oklahoma Lewis scoring first.
Nice little slide by. Just caught him coming into him, passed him by, got the takedown.
Tyrone Lewis, probably one of the most explosive. There it is, the snap down attempt. Look at that. Chuck down attempt right off the whistle. That's about 5 seconds. And he's probably one of the most explosive young men out there.
And Lewis. An estimated 10,000 fans here in Gallagher Arena. Tyrone Lewis here. Nope. John Smith, his mentor. John's got to be hoping that he can get some All-American points from Lewis in a couple of NCAA tournament.
Well, 174 is a wide open weight. I mean, you could see finalists in there that would be ranked as low as 9th or 10th in the country, or seated that level. So you can see them in the finals in Iowa City in 2 weeks.
And he certainly has the talent to be able to do that. Just physically, he's a phenomenal wrestler. Jet fast.
Good technique. Look confident.
Oh my goodness, we were talking earlier about how Lewis can do things that Monday do, and
in an instant, it's a fall for Tyrone.
Lewis, Oklahoma State now, without a blaze, out of reach.
There isn't a team in the Big 12 Conference game to reach them. Tyrone Lewis, jet quick as Kendall Cross described him. Perry Parks was looking at the lights.
There's replay, a double attempt. He catches Parks up and runner, pops the hips in and comes through. A little bit of a benefactor, a quick fall, but wow, what a move, Kendall.
Yeah, that was nice. I kind of questioned the fall. That was quick, you know. I don't know. That was really tight. I think I would have been.
Well, the hometown crowd didn't mind it, and so it's Tyrone Lewis with the victory at 174
pounds. John Smith putting his arm in the air, his brother Pat behind him. He loves that.
Tyrone Lewis gaining great momentum. We'll be back with more action at 184 pounds when we come.
If you're a divorced father or to be divorced, learn your rights and protect your children's best interests. For a free men's rights brochure, call 312-356-DADS and visit our website.
Jeffrey M. Leving is saluted for his work on behalf of fathers in Illinois.
It's the roar of the crowd, the emotion on the field, the excitement in the air. The XFL in Soldier Field on March 18th as the San Francisco Demons descend upon the Chicago Enforcers. Great seats are still available for this and all other Enforcers home games through Ticketmaster outlets or by calling 319-1212. The XFL. X-Ball like never before.
I got you.
Welcome back to Gallagher Iba Arena. It's the Big 12 Conference Wrestling
Championships. We're now 184 pounds.
For those of you that follow college wrestling, and even for those that don't, you'll be looking now at Cael Sanderson at 184 pounds for Iowa State. Has never taste beat as a collegiate. Even Dan Gable could not make that claim. Guys, he's going up against Daniel Cormier, really one of the athletes in the NCAA that does have a legitimate shot pushing Cael Sanderson. He hasn't done it so far this season. Sanderson right in on the leg of Cormier right off the bat. He's not going to play cat and mouse.
Well, Sanderson is just expert at the leg attacks, and you mentioned about Sanderson's record, but Cormier is one of the few guys that have gone the distance with him and not given up bonus points, lost by more than 8 points. So
they've been close matches.
A decisive finish there to the takedown attempt for Cael Sanderson. And go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say they've been close
matches, but not close technically. Close score-wise, but there's been a little bit of a difference between the two.
Here you see Sanderson on the leg attack, sweeps. Beautiful finish, Kendall.
Absolutely.
Well, Kendall, what do you think about that kind of a finish in relation to international style wrestling, where we may see Cael Sanderson down the line?
Yeah, he really is. I believe he's the future of USA Wrestling. I can't imagine that we wouldn't see him in the next couple of Olympics. You know, I think it's whether he chooses to do. If he stays in the sport, however long he stays in, he's probably going to be the man at that weight.
Well, you know that the United States is hosting the World Wrestling Championships freestyle Greco and women's in New York, September 6th through the 29th. You could very easily see Cael Sanderson in there. There's a lot of competition at that weight class, but you know, if you wanted to plan a vacation ahead of time, I'd just block out September 26th through the 29th, or actually June 22nd through the 24th in Cincinnati for the World Team Trials. Both of those dates, you're going to see the highest wrestling that the United States
and the world have to offer.
You know, people talk about Cael Sanderson and what makes him different, and I think this is the thing that makes him different. He disguises his lead leg. He shows that right leg as the lead leg the whole time, all right? And when he goes to shoot, All right, goes to shoot, he changes around. So there's his lead leg, he disguises it, and when he actually goes to his left leg forward, as he did in this right there, he's almost ambidextrous on his shot, but he shows one leg forward and then comes back and attack with the back leg. And so far, the rest of the competition hasn't been able to keep up with it.
Jim Gibbons. Didn't like call there for you at home.
Jim, as a
successful coach, what would be your strategy against somebody like a Cael Sanderson?
If you look at his technique here, there's the leg I was talking about, the one he disguised. Came up with the left leg, drives right. I don't know. I've tried to come to terms with that. You've got to recognize when he slips that left leg forward, his left leg forward, he's coming for the shot. So you maybe try to create more lateral motion, going side to side, and see what you can do to get on his leg.
Brought back to the mat with authority, Cael Sanderson bringing Daniel Cormier into position.
You know, he's so much, Dan Gable won on kind of a power style, get on top, bar arms, and that's basically the way the style was. Cael Sanderson is the excellent scrambler. He's got the whole scramble package, whereas John Smith was kind of the lightning strike, motion out in front. So, I consider him obviously one of the potentially one of the great ones with what's ahead of him here. But it's like he's doing it. He's doing it his own way.
That's true. He's got his style. He's not copying anybody. He's out there doing his thing.
There's John Smith, a 6-time consecutive world champion, a couple Olympic championships in there. We were just mentioning his style. And for those of you on the Cael Sanderson watch, NCAA number 2 ranked wrestler at this rate is Nate Patrick. Number 4 ranked Damian Hahn from Minnesota. And I don't know if it really matters.
When you get to the tournament, you of course know that, Larry, but it's just that what's going to be the wrestler? What are going to be the qualities of the guy that beats him, and what will that match be like? I just can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I remember seeing, who was dominant in his weight class for so many years there in college, go through a pretty devastating loss as a junior, I believe it was, and he was pretty, one of the dominant ones. I don't think he's quite what a Cael Sanderson is right now, but it certainly was an upset, and a major one at that. Well,
remember hearing the story about Larry Owens, how he cut down to
he wanted Gable. I mean, that was his approach. And if there's somebody out there that had
so right now it's Oklahoma 65, Oklahoma State 64. I mean, Iowa State 64.5. So things go on.
They are. You see he's showing the right leg again. That's his lead leg. Now he comes back and he switches it off.
And that's just getting people. They just haven't figured that out yet.
Frustration on the face of Daniel Cormier.
The thing is,
You went by Cael and Russell, you see him
deep on ankles. He's standing straight up more times than any other.
Right, this is where he's improving most of the shares, and he's in the top of it.
Both wrestlers reach the finals by virtue of falls. Daniel Cormier with a big throw and trip in the semifinal. To watch him wrestle any other athlete, you'd think that he could be Cael Sanderson, essentially. He really is a great athlete, but then when they get on the mat together, you see that there is a distance between the two.
That's true. I've heard John Smith speak very Cormier and talking about how where his abilities are, and then he has a chance to possibly beat Sanderson, but
it's obvious that this is not close.
Into the second period, 6 in favor of Cael Sanderson with riding time, which he cannot lose. It would be essentially 7-3. His chance on top. The release now 7-3 on the scoreboard. That Cormier would like to get a little momentum for the NCAA tournament with the takedown.
Well, Cormier's strength is upper body. He had a beautiful lateral drop, almost back-to-back type of technique in the semifinals to get the fall. And he can throw, but there again, the question, that's his brother taking photos.
What was interesting at the semifinals was that Cormier threw his opponent and pinned his opponent, and it was like Sanderson looked over at the other mat, and within 20 seconds he'd pinned his opponent, rolled him up like a bug, and scored his fall as well. Now battling a depth deficit of 4 points on the board, a minute and a half in.
He'll be 114-0, I believe, at this match.
It continues in the manner that it is right now.
There's the first real.
Cormier certainly is taking shots here, just not able to get anything going. It's going to take a big move here.
Don't really see it happening just because he can't get to him at all.
I think when you watch Cael, you watch his footwork. He just keeps the weight on the balls of his feet. As I mentioned before, he comes with that shot. He comes with that leg.
I am so impressed with the quality of the strategy and the technical abilities of Cael Sanderson. Seconds left now in this match. He really isn't one to coast at the end. And
no, that's right, Larry. He's still going. He's got a lead. He's going to win the match, but he's still shooting.
Still going. Never quits.
And there you see it. The final score, 8-3 in favor of Cael Sanderson. He is, again, the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Champion for Iowa State. That move.
Into second place here. You see him walking in the camp.
We'll be back with 197 pounds, perhaps the best weight class that the Big 12 Conference has to offer right after this. Stay with us. It's going to be a good one.
Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities. From tennis to swimming to track field, the Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics have formed a winning partnership.
Some sports are for the heart.
Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life.
Welcome back to Gallagher-Iba Arena. It's 197 pounds here at the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships. Brad Beering, the defending NCAA Wrestling Champion, #1 again this year, going up against Mark Munoz. Now, he was #3 ranked coming in, but as we know, he defeated Zach Thompson, the #2 ranked wrestler. That puts him in the finals here against Beering.
Munoz has beaten Beering before. They've both beaten each other. And Munoz, if I remember right, he has more wins against Beering. And
good shot. A good shot.
He's got his hands locked on a single leg on Beering.
This is the power shot that Munoz has started to get to early in the bout as opposed to waiting for it.
Oh, and the NCAA champion fights it off. Changes positions on the edge of the mat.
That really has to be disappointing for Munoz. Having a leg up like that, being able to finish, that's tough.
One thing about Munoz, though, he'll go back to that shot again and again. And as you mentioned, we've got a situation where these guys have wrestled. I think Munoz has won 5 out of the last 6, and this is a rematch of last year's Big 12
championships. And, you know, this weight class, as highly ranked as the 3 guys are, it's kind of up until, you know, paper, rock, scissors match up until the semifinals where Munoz finally broke through and beat Thompson for the first time.
So we're definitely looking at the #1 seed out of the winner of this match. #1 seed in the nation. So
that's critical because you've got a situation where now the other 2 guys
have to meet each other in the semis. I mean, you've got
to get there to begin with, but it certainly favors the #1 seed.
Yeah,
a knee pick by Beering on the edge of the mat. That was the first good look at Brad Beering's offensive attempt. We're a minute and a half into the first period. Both wrestlers have been on the verge of scoring points.
Really good athletes.
Keep good position.
And they allow the pace to slow a little bit. I don't think they can keep up for
7 minutes at that pace. That's what makes for great wrestling, though. If the wrestlers have the courage to go out early, both of these wrestlers, All-Americans, both of them at the top of their game, trying to keep that momentum going for the NCAA championships coming up here And of course, Mark Munoz, now a member of the Oklahoma State team that will win the Big 12 Wrestling Championships for the year 2001.
Just like you said, Jim, he's going back well on that shot.
He's not going all the way. He's kind of going halfway, and now that's allowing Buehring to get into his. Munoz, the referee calls.
To Munoz, he wooed him to Stillwater from California, and now it's Buehring in on the leg of Munoz. Can he do to him what Munoz is not able to do to Buehring?
Needs to finish. You should finish these kind of positions here.
Look at the wrist tied up. Munoz has his wrist tied up, and that's making the difference in the technique.
8 seconds left in the first, and Brad Buehring scores.
Buehring was able to free his wrist.
Oh, a critical escape there at the end of the first period.
Good job of running here. Here you see Buehring. He's got his wrist tied up in that situation. Now he freed his wrist right to the double leg. Kind of the old Bazagar, as we used to call it. There's Terry Brands, Steve Hamilton. There's intensity in that corner.
Yeah.
You guys are quick.
Yeah.
Now Munoz in the position that he essentially won his semifinal match over Zach Thompson in. He rode him the entire, I believe it was the third period. At least he got riding time, and that's what the difference was. Not to happen here. Buehring escaped easily.
It'll be interesting to see how that escape in the first period plays out at the end of the match.
Really, that 2 lead could have been huge there. Now it's 2-1, and
that's exactly right.
3-1 by virtue of the escape that was just awarded. So we really have a tight match here. The takedown is the difference. The takedown by Buehring.
Well, Big 12 championships. Buehring's had a hard time beating Munoz. He's got the lead right now, and Munoz had a hard time beating Thompson in the semis, and he's here, so.
Typical 12 championship.
Oh, look at Buehring slide into that leg attack. He's got plenty of room to finish. Switches to the double again, as we saw earlier.
But his shoelaces are flat. He's got to get his toes up underneath him and drive through.
Oh, Munoz. Oh, my knee hurt us looking at that. And Kenny Ritchie calls a potentially dangerous
Munoz
position.
dodged a huge bullet there.
Buehring stops for a second. He left his shoelaces flat, and he had no power left to drive forward.
We may be having saved the best for last. We're at 197 pounds here. We're in our match of Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships. We essentially have number 1 and number 2 ranked because Munoz knocked number 2 off in the semifinal. Attempt by Buehring, countered by Munoz.
But I think you're going to expect Munoz in this match here. Look over at John. He's wanting his athlete to get more scramble situations, and that's exactly what he does. Creates more action.
He's good.
There you go. Low, high. This is nice stuff here. Spin around attempt.
Munoz again, though, pushes himself into a danger position.
Really?
He's been able to maneuver out of it. Buehring, the veteran, realizes where the edge of the mat is, and he's able to slide off the Oklahoma State crowd with a big sigh as they go out of bounds. John Smith looks on. He knew that was a great possibility for his wrestler, Mark Munoz.
I think he likes the pace of this match, though. The strategy is working in John's favor.
The hands are locked. Munoz with great position on Buehring. Now can he finish? No, Buehring's hips are just too strong. Munoz not slowed down, and what
just inside the scrambling action. That's right, just here, it looks like
Buehring's a little gassed. Looks like he's a little red-faced,
a little flushed.
And a great look at 2 of the great wrestlers the United States have produced. Terry Brands in the corner of Brad Buehring and John Smith in the corner of Mark Munoz. There's the escape. 1 point separates these 2 athletes. Third period, 197 pounds, a minute and 45 seconds left. There's Buehring in.
Munoz is tough here.
Locks in the crotch. If he scoops this leg up, scoops his bottom leg up, he's got a chance of scoring here if he gets his hips up.
By the same token, if Buehring can get some elevation, he'll be looking tough.
Switching around.
And what do we got here?
Great
at the end of all this scramble?
Guy who keeps his head up will win that ball.
Mark Munoz!
Oh!
What a turn of events.
The Oklahoma State club roars and stands.
And these scramble situations have made it difficult on Buehring. It's really helped affecting his conditioning.
Absolutely. You can see it. He's got his head down on the mat. Right now he should move.
His head get planted on the mat like that.
And there's very trained
Gain the ovation. The score 4-3 in favor of Munoz. 48 seconds left.
And Deering's been slow to come back to the center here. He's just had a hard time keeping up with Munoz's action. And the crowd senses. Everybody in this arena senses what's happening here.
Munoz got here with trying to keep this lead. He's got a lot of time left. They're both pretty slick. It's third period. They're both wet.
Deering almost threw himself to his back.
Munoz went to take a neutral. He almost drives Deering to his back for more points.
He's got the bar arm hooked up. He's got Munoz in good position.
In 10 seconds, Munoz will gain right into.
Still got control. There's potential escape.
And the referee called a stalemate in that situation. Let's question with 10 seconds left.
Boy, what a comeback by Munoz.
4-3 in favor of Munoz. He also holds a minute and 7 seconds time. 10 seconds left. This is looking grim for the defending NCAA champion, Brad Deering.
And the Nebraska coaches are upset that
Deering did get an escape there.
I can't blame him.
I thought he had the escape.
They didn't call the escape.
The roar from the Oklahoma's crowd is deafening. Their 197-pounder, Mark Munoz, has wrestled two of his finest matches ever. Now the finals.
Number 1 seed.
The momentum is
Here's
Mark
the spin
Munoz.
around attempt by Munoz. Deering to keep his head up. He plants his head.
The guy who has his head up in this situation is going to win the scramble.
All right. Notice how he gets
hand up,
straightens elbow up, keeps his elevation, gets the 2 points.
That's exactly right. The high head wins just about every time in that
situation.
So Mark Munoz, get to where it's due. We'll be back with the heavyweight match, our final match of the evening, here in Gallagher-Iba Arena, right after this.
I'm Olympic jockey Joyner Kersey.
After the knee.
Rookie of the year, Bryan Urlacher.
I feel the need.
Indy 5 champion.
At the Chicago Street in Joliet
For level price, starting at just $175. You can see the superstars of NASCAR, Indy Racing, and ARCA coming this year for the first time to your backyard. Act now by calling 815-727-RACE to order your tickets or visit the Chicagoland site at chicagolandspeedway.com. Reserve your seat today.
Jeff Burton, Allen Jr.
As they take on the new Chicagoland Speedway for the first time. See fast. Call 815-727-RACE to satisfy your need for speed.
Beyond Crump's taking the top position for Oklahoma,
Going up against James Huml for Oklahoma State. Trying to gape the score 1-0 in favor of Crump. He got escape.
We could see an overtime match.
Well, Crump wants to be very careful because a victory here would move his team into second place. Right now, Oklahoma State leads conference championship with 85 points. Then in second, it's Iowa State 67.5, followed by Oklahoma with 65, and then Nebraska with 50.
It's curious, so far we haven't had the referees involved with any type of stalling calls, so the slate is clean there.
There's Huml. He started out with the leg attack, and Crump's the one that nothing results.
Almost ended up like a cradle situation where he had Hummel's head trapped underneath there.
Hummel's wrestled well from his knee. At least he survived
on his knees. I don't Crump want to go down to his knees.
That's right. All of his attempts have been from the standing position. He hasn't he hasn't gone down. And both athletes are just kind of toe ear to ear. Oh, nice single leg attempt. Oh, switches off to a double. There's the 2. That was huge, Kendall.
Yeah, could win the match right there, Jim.
Exactly right. A takedown against these two big boys.
If you look at it, he just goes into a snatch single, grabs that single. Right there, keeps his position. As Larry, you mentioned earlier, he doesn't go down to the knees unless
he knows he's going to finish.
That was nice. Looks like he just got his fingernails around there and was able to snag it up.
Fighting!
35 seconds left in this heavyweight match, and Huml escapes. That's what he needed to do to put himself in a position
to win this match. Immediately goes in on a leg attack.
He's been here over and over, but has been able to capitalize on this position. Donnie Owens doesn't want to waste any time there. Back to
well, you can see how Leonce Crump is pretty much a raw talent out there. He's got a lot of ability. See how poised he is here to take home a championship.
Yeah, he sure is.
There's your obligatory stall warning there. Guy's up by 1.
Well, Crump may be a freshman, but he knows how much time is left on the clock. 0 now. He wins it 3-2, a 1-point victory for Leonce Crump. That puts his team, the Oklahoma Sooners, into second place. Well, the Big 12 Conference Wrestling Championships now history. There were a lot of highlights, guys, but the bottom line, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State again with the great performance. They put themselves in a position to national champion again, but there again you've got Iowa State with their individual strength, and the University of Oklahoma will score a lot of points in the national tournament too.
So, what do you think as a coach? What do you think these athletes
will do now for this next week and a half before the NCAAs?
Well, that's a great question. They're hopefully heal up, get their training, and at this stage of the game, looking to limit the learning, look strategies. You look at some of the competition that you have, stay fresh, and actually reaffirm the belief that hey, no matter what happened today, by 97, there's 4
guys who potentially win a national championship at that weight class.
So keep the faith.
Good point.
Well, I in competition, but what I really enjoyed was working you two. The total team score here, Oklahoma State 85. Oklahoma pulls into second with 68. Iowa State 67.5. Nebraska 50.
And Missouri 10.5.
For Jim Gibbons, for Kendall Cross, and our entire broadcast crew, I'm Larry Nugent. Thanks for being with us.
In the time it takes to watch this commercial, you could do so many things at the Springfield Racquet and Fitness Center. The brand new gym has climbing, volleyball, and basketball. Tennis is still strong and just added cardio kickboxing.
Kids programs for all ages. A healing club in town with cycling classes. 4 racquetball courts and volley. Degree certified personal trainers make Springfield Racquet and Fitness Center the best club around. So call now and ask their money back guarantee. 787-2460.
The only club in town that has been in business 20 years.
Springfield Racquet and Fitness Center Road south of Wabash.
Hi, Jim Heron. Quality is very important to me. Hartshafter & Marks, Joseph Abboud, Talia, Corbin, and Southampton are some of the premier clothing lines in the country today, and you can find a great selection of these quality suits and sport coats at Jim Heron Limited. Robert Talbot, Farrell Reed neckties, best. When you combine them with a 100% cotton shirt from Gitman Brothers, Gordon, you have a combination that can't be beat. Operations are free at Jim Heron Limited, and there's parking right outside my door at Limited, corner 7th and Adams in downtown Springfield.
John Dockley Jr. blown out by their arch rival.
In my 6-7 years here, no one's ever beaten us today.
Turn it up. Even the #1 player in the country can have a bad day.
He got to redeem himself now.
Let's come on. Chicago high school basketball is more than just